Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227. Or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
And good afternoon and welcome to Lambda Weekly. I'm David Taffet and I'm here in the studio with Lerone Landis and the late Patty Fink, who was running so late last week that she just showed up for last week's show.
But I was early.
For this week's show, but a little bit late for
so
last week's.
So that shaved about 5 minutes off of last week's show.
It did shave about 5 minutes off the show.
But I'm not going to be late on this. 972-647-1893. That's our
right.
pledge
It is
number.
Pledge Drive.
That's our number, and it is Pledge Drive. We did well last week. We're about halfway to our goal. This week we can get all the way to our goal and help us end Pledge Drive quickly. We don't want it to go on for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 7 weeks. It's never gone 7 weeks. But it does go into a third week, and we'd love to end it quickly. So give us a call, 972-647-1893. And when the station, we had a little meeting, and they came up with some ideas, things that we should say. I don't think that was one of the things that they wanted us to say.
Was that they
It goes on too long. Well, it does.
But we know that you as a listener would much rather hear the programming than us going on and on about fundraising. But we do need it, and it is important so you can hear the great programming that we have.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Now, one thing that you can do also, and we get a good number of our pledges on this show this way, is you can go online, especially if you're listening to the podcast and we're not live in the studio, go to knon.org. Click on the pledge button. You can choose your pledge premium. You can write in Lambda Weekly or just write The Gay Show. And you can
Pledge that way.
Yeah, give us a credit card, give us a name, a name, an address. That's about all we need. That's the big deal information that we need. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. The pledge premium news this week is that the new KNON T-shirt is a light, bright green. First time in KNON history.
Oh, it is.
Wow.
That's almost neon.
It matches Laron's headset. Headphones.
It does.
So if I were to walk out of here with
one.
that shirt and this, man, you couldn't miss me.
We can't miss you anyway. 972-647-1893. We have Doc here. We have Chris here. We have Josh here. And they're all answering the phones. And if the phones ring that much, Patty will answer the phones. Laron will answer the phones. Yes. I'll answer the phones. And we'll just play some music. We're not a music show.
Give us a chance to be that busy on the phone.
Absolutely.
Give us a call, 972-647-1893.
And again, that's 972-647-1893.
You know, and one thing that I want to emphasize, especially to the LGBT community, before there was a Dallas Voice, there was a Lambda Weekly. Before there was any other way to get information about your community, KNON came to DGLA, Dallas Gay and Lesbian Alliance, and said, hey, would you do a show for us? We were one of the original shows on the air. We went on the week the station went on the air, and we've been here ever since. But that doesn't mean we'll be here forever. We'll only be here as long as we're making our pledge drives, as long as we're raising the premiums and making the money that we know we need to make. That's the only way we stay on the air. Last year, was it 9 shows were canceled because they weren't making their pledges. They just weren't making the premiums. They weren't getting their pledges in, and 9 shows were canceled, including one of the original shows on the station. So that will happen. Just because we're a legacy show doesn't mean we're here forever.
And I'd like to point out, too, since this is Mother's Day, and Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there, that, you know, that Lambda Weekly, it was the oldest, longest-running LGBT radio show anywhere in the U.S., so we're kind of the mom of all the other, like, internet shows and all those others.
We're the mother of all internet shows.
We're the mother of all internet shows. That's right. And I think it would be great if our listeners said, you know, Happy Mother's Day to Lambda Weekly today with a pledge of what you think it's worth.
And you make a pledge. If you'd like us, we'll happy to do a shout-out to your mom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So call in with your pledge. We'll do a shout-out to your mom. And it's a Happy Mother's Day to the mother of all radio shows. LGBT radio shows.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
As Patty pointed out, you know, we and David, we have various ways that you get your news now through not just the internet. There's other radio shows, there's TV shows with LGBT programming, and that's great. But still here in Dallas-Fort Worth, this is the only local content you're going to get. And I know you value that. We value that because we like our local opinions. You know, it's not something. This isn't some programming that was bought, that was made in D.C. or somewhere else and just broadcast here. This is local content. We have a lot of local guests that are very important to our community, and we know you value that.
And we get some great national guests too.
We do. But it's all here. We're local, homegrown folks here at Knon, and that's what Knon is about: the community, the local community, and that's what you get here: local LGBT opinions. And
you know, the whole station is like that. When you go to that other station that begs for money, first of all, you're paying for big salaries. You're paying for big, fancy, expensive studio that they built. You're paying for all kinds of big stuff. Here, you're paying for little salaries for a few people. You're paying for tower rent. You're paying for the electricity, and you're paying for rent for a decent office for us. And that, you know, it's a decent studio. It's nothing luxurious. It's nothing that you would walk in here and say, I can't believe they're wasting their money on that. No money goes wasted here at KNON.
Absolutely not.
It just keeps us on the air.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. 89.3 FM.
That's right.
Which is who we've been since 90, I think, is when we changed frequencies and changed phone numbers. 972-647-1893. Give us a call. Help support gay and lesbian radio. You know, the other thing that you said, though, is we're live and local. Every show here is live and local. We're not buying out-of-town programming. The music shows are not getting. They're not using, you know, Billboard, whatever. They're playing the music they want to play. We're talking about the topics we want to talk about. We do our programming not just locally, but the show itself does its own programming, and the music shows play their music that they want to play, and it's live and local, and you don't get that on any other station here in Dallas.
It's true. And if you go to other cities, I do this when I travel, especially for work, and it's just me. I look for the stations that are like KNON in those other communities, and they're hard to find sometimes.
I was going to say,
I feel
if
really
you find
blessed.
one.
Yeah, I feel really blessed that we have one. And in the history of our show, think about our neighbors before and after. I mean, we had a Thai show. We've had gospel lead us in. We've
Beyond Bows and Arrows was our lead-in, or the show after us for years.
Absolutely.
And
now we have the Jewish Music Hour. We used to have North Texas Polka Hour. I mean, this is just all over the map, isn't it?
Right.
It's great.
But the thing about it is, they're all shows that not another station has. There's a gay show in Houston. That's it. There's not another Jewish Music Hour. There's not another. Well, there are a couple of other polka shows around. These are not shows that are done on any other station in Dallas.
That's correct.
So 972-647-1893. Why are we talking about other shows? Because when you're donating, you're going to donate and pledge to us, or you can donate. If you want to call us and pledge to another show during this show, we're happy to take that pledge too. But because we're just very proud to be part of KNON.
It's the voice of the people, and the people are all of these things.
972-647-1893. What happened in Arkansas on Friday?
Arkansas beat us.
Arkansas
beat us.
Hell froze over, and Arkansas got marriage. Equality.
We've been talking, kind of jokingly, which southern state is going to be the first state.
And I predicted.
You predicted Mississippi.
Mississippi would be state number 26. Now we're still up to state 17.
Yes, we are. Which would be the first southern state to legalize same-sex marriage? Well, Texas, we've had 2 rulings that overturned a marriage ban, as is Oklahoma, but no actual marriages have been performed here or marriage certificates been issued here. Well, Arkansas just did it yesterday and beat us.
I have a quote from the decision.
Well, we should point out, too, that this was not a decision that was done in a federal
court.
This was in
county court.
Yeah, like state court.
And here's what they said, what this judge said. It was Judge Piazza was his name. Clearly, right now, any of the counties that were sued would be on shaky ground if they don't issue marriage licenses. That's not Piazza. Piazza's is a different one. Okay. This is Judge Wagner. It's more questionable the applicability of the ruling to state government entities that were not in the lawsuit. That wasn't the quote I was looking for.
While David's looking for it, 972-647-1893.
I can't find it right now.
But you know what? You were right. That it is Judge Chris Piazza.
It is Judge Piazza?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then the person that I was thinking, okay, no.
Well, here's one thing it says. He
Go
said
ahead.
there's no rational reason for withholding marriages from gay couples, unlike some other judges in states.
He also said this is an unconstitutional attempt to narrow the definition of equality. The exclusion of a minority for no rational reason is a dangerous precedent. That's interesting wording.
Right. Mm-hmm. And what he did with the other judges, what he did not do is what the other judges did, is he did not stay his own decision.
Nope. So what happened? He ruled on Friday. On Saturday, most county courthouses are not open, but where was it? Eureka Springs. They are open on Saturdays. I forgot why, but they are. And so about 20 couples went in to get their marriage licenses. Now the sheriff in that county, just to be nice and friendly, the office closes at 1 o'clock. And the sheriff went in and made sure that the office closed. So there were about 50 couples that wanted licenses, 20 got them, the other 30 did not. This is just real nice and friendly here.
Maybe they'll camp out through the weekend.
Well, they're kind of expecting a stay on Monday.
Yeah, well, they haven't done so yet, but I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Will appeal to the state Supreme Court.
Sure.
Arkansas State Supreme Court. And I assume them to grant it.
And I don't know much about Arkansas government. Is the state Supreme Court conservative in Arkansas?
I would assume so, but the Attorney General in Arkansas is a Democrat, and he said he's going to defend the law, even though he personally supports marriage equality.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So he's going to defend the ban, and I guess let it take its course.
Well, I'd rather have somebody
governor
who doesn't believe in it defending the ban. And we'll get to these in a few minutes, but some of the reasons that they've gotten down to for defending the bans are absolutely idiotic. I have 3 of them this week that I found, and one is dumber than the next. I mean,
let's hear that first one.
We were saying a couple of years ago, oh yeah, I guess this didn't work, so now they're using that, and that didn't work, now they're using this. They were just throwing anything at the wall. These are absolutely idiotic. Here's my favorite. Well, it's not my favorite one. We'll start with this one, Kentucky. Kentucky's marriage ban, or the ban on recognizing marriages performed elsewhere, was overturned by a federal judge in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to go to to an appeals court. The governor has said he's going to defend it. Governor Beshear's lawyers say gay marriage threatens Kentucky's birth rates.
You have to think about that, and even after you think about it, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's almost like, repeat that?
Okay, what he's saying is that if you don't have same-sex marriage, everybody will get opposite-sex married, and everybody in Kentucky has their children in wedlock.
Right.
That happens, doesn't it?
No,
In
absolutely.
Kentucky? I think it does. And he's saying gay people do not have children. This is their argument. So they're going to defend this. And if they have to appeal it to the Supreme Court, their defense is gay people do not have children. Do you hear that, Lerone?
Yeah.
How old is Gabrielle?
She's 5, so...
And she's whose child? You bought her where?
I had her. She wasn't purchased.
Okay, I just want to make that clear. Governor Beshear doesn't understand. You had a kid.
I had a kid. Hey, well, maybe he's never met me, so I need to write him a letter and say, hey, I just want to introduce myself.
And you had, because we don't have same-sex marriage here in Texas, you married what woman? His name is Danny.
His name is Danny.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did marry.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we need to take a break in a minute. It is Pledge Drive, and we do need you to call us, because where else do you get an analysis of the news quite the way we do it? I've been told not too many other places do that.
It's true. 972-647-1893. You can also go online to knon.org and pledge there. So give us a call, click, do whatever, but give us your pledge. 972-647-1893.
You know, we have a whole list of pledge premiums. We're not going to read them because it's just a boring list, but it's lots of stuff like T-shirts and umbrellas and aprons and caps and all that kind of stuff.
Aprons.
Which we love giving out, actually. You know, if you don't want any more pledge premiums, that's great. It does save us money. But we actually like when people wear our T-shirts because that's the only advertising we actually do for the station. It lets people know that we're still here. So don't feel like, oh, I really should give the station more money by doing... You can give us a couple of extra dollars to cover the postage, but we like giving out those shirts because it is our only advertising. We're not paying for big billboards. We're not paying for radio and TV advertising on other stations. We're only doing T-shirts. So 972-647-1893.
And you know how we have the gay nod? You know, like when you're in public and you see somebody and you're pretty sure they're gay and you kind of have that nod? Well, there's a KNON nod. When you're wearing a KNON shirt or you've got a KNON cap, you know, and you pass somebody and they recognize that, they get the little nod. So it's not KNOD, it's KNON. But there is a KNON nod.
You know, one of the things, they gave us a whole list of things that they want us to, you know, tell our listeners and warn them or, you know, tell them don't worry about. One of them is KNON doesn't sell its donor list to any of your information to anybody. That would take organization. That would mean we'd have a computer. We don't have one.
There'd be a lot of volunteers, too.
Patty and Lerone were both laughing at me because the time on the board here was wrong. And so I said, does anybody have a paper clip? Because that's how you fix it on our vintage 1980s board that we use here. We don't spend, which works just fine.
Works just fine.
Most of the time.
No, then we do special pledge drives for help. We need new CD players. We need new 8-track players. But we don't waste money on stuff that we don't need. And that's how, you know, we can guarantee you that your money is really going to make the station operate. 972-647-1893. 972-647-1893. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Community radio provides the kind of programming you won't find anywhere else on the dial. Nowhere else can you find such a variety of formats and personalities in North Texas as on KNON. But this is only possible through the support of our listeners. KNON depends on listener support to stay on the air. Now is the time for you to help keep this show on the air. This pledge drive will continue until the station reaches its goal. If you're waiting out the pledge drive, you might be waiting out the existence of this show and KNON too. So don't wait for someone else to do it. Without the support of people like you, there wouldn't be any community radio on the air in North Texas. So take a few minutes and make the pledge. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
This is Jake Winters from Leicester, England, and I listen to Lambda Weekly on Knon 89.3 FM.
And it's time for Lerone's Entertainment Report.
Alrighty, it was a nail biter, and many were starting to doubt if it was going to happen at all. But yesterday, Michael Sam made history as he became the very first openly gay player to be drafted into the National Football League. The Texas native was selected by the St. Louis Rams in the 7th and final round, and admitted it was a frustrating wait. It was for me too. He said the teams that passed on him chickened out, and he should have been drafted sooner. He's very much correct on that. Rams coach Jeff Fisher said in an interview that in the world of diversity we live in now, I'm honored to be part of this. Now, 2 days before he was officially drafted, he already signed his first major endorsement deal with Visa. So he was going to benefit from this whichever way it went. But I think,
well, if he wasn't actually drafted and didn't get onto a team, those endorsements would have dried up.
Oh, sure.
Eventually, but I think he would have been picked up maybe even later, because you can still play for a team, just get picked up later. But it was a crime. I'm a big sports fan. We know that. I've been watching football since I was little, but I've never really watched an actual telecast of the draft. It's kind of boring. It's long and drawn out. Unless you just have a certain player that you're waiting to see if they got drafted. Well, I did that yesterday, and it was just like, come on, is he going to be drafted? And he was the 8th to the last player to be drafted. I don't know why they waited so long. For a guy who won the Southeastern Conference Player of the Year award,
okay, here's
he should have
what
been in the
saying.
first round.
Here's what they're saying, that because of his height, he's 6'2", and because he's smaller than most defensive linemen, nobody knows for sure if he can make the switch to linebacker in the pros.
Give me a break.
Okay, now, if you're the quarterback at SMU, do we know that you can make the switch to quarterback in the pros? Do we know that?
Apparently, yeah.
If you're a punter in some college somewhere, do we know for absolute? No. So that's an absolutely idiotic statement. There is nobody who has ever been the SEC Defensive Player of the Year who has been drafted in the 7th round.
In the 7th round, exactly. Again, this isn't
and could have been, it didn't have to be first round, could have been second or third, but 7th, no.
This wasn't like, he's not just some average player. There's a lot of good average players in football and on the college level.
Me in college.
Exactly.
I'm still reeling from all of this sports analysis coming out of David's mouth. It's amazing.
I prepared.
I prepped him.
You mean I've never talked sports intelligently on this show in 30 years?
No.
You're right.
I can't think of a moment that you have.
Not especially when you say
have.
who won between the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavericks.
Because we don't care about the teams from other cities.
See what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so he and even more shockingly, they showed his reaction on TV live. Didn't edit it. I was waiting for them to switch the camera away. They didn't. They were showing several kisses between he and his boyfriend, and he was really choked up and emotional about it. It was just that's going to be a watershed moment.
I saw the clip, and he was on his cell phone with Jeff Fisher, and he was just bawling. He was so moved that it finally happened. Because it was suddenly real for him. And I think one of the other things that's really great for the whole game is, and for him especially, is that he was in the University of Missouri. I think it was University of Missouri.
Yeah, it was
in Columbia, and now he's staying in his own state.
Right.
Yep. They love him there.
He has fandom, and so the St. Louis Rams.
You know what? Jason Collins, when he was picked up in New York, his shirt became the #1 selling shirt in the NBA.
No, you're right. In the NBA.
Now he's donating his proceeds from it because the person whose shirt it is gets a little portion of it. He's donating all of his to the Matthew Shepard Fund, and good for him. But it's the #1 shirt. Do you know who else profits from that? The team.
Yes.
Do you know whose shirt is going to be #1 in the NBA around the country?
Yep.
Now, maybe not in Dallas. In Dallas, the #1 shirt will be, whoever the big star will be next year.
You're talking about the
here.
NFL now.
The NFL, in the NFL. The shirt, for a team, but nationwide, whose shirt is going to be #1? Michael Sam. I guarantee it. What does that also mean? Especially for a second-tier city having a team, he wouldn't make as much of an impact in Dallas because, America's team and all that nonsense. Apparently, America's straight team. Well, not really. But it's in a city like St. Louis, you don't need a star who's going to bring in new fans. Of course you do. Even if he's not the best player, because we don't know how he'll make his transition. He'll transition just like any other.
Just like any other.
Yeah. So
player.
That's just their way. That's their way of saying, of trying to make it sound like, oh, this had nothing to do with homophobia. Of course it did.
Of course it did.
But any team like that needs new fans. Which would you rather do? Win, 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 or win, lose, and pack your stadium?
Right.
You want to have more fans, and he's going to bring them just the way Jason Collins has.
Yep.
Jason Collins has been packing the arena.
Absolutely. So congratulations to him. I think it's a wonderful moment in history.
And I certainly hope he makes the cut to stay on the team.
I do too.
That's always a big fear.
And one other thing,
will happen, an injury or something,
right?
And they don't get their slot.
But when they're talking about we don't know how he'll transition, we'll see. He'll play with the team and
know
he'll
how
either
any
make
of
it or
them
not
are.
make it,
Right.
just like anybody else.
Like anybody else. I mean, there are some players who won the Heisman. And that's the absolute biggest award you can
Who
get
have not made
in
it.
college sports and have not made it.
Well, look at Tebow.
Exactly.
I mean, he's just floundered.
He choked.
Yeah. So you never know.
Now, one other thing, I do want to make one promise. That is the last time I will talk intelligently about sports on this program.
Wow. Mark it down. Mother's Day 2014. Speaking of, 972-647-1893.
Yeah, we're going to finish Leron's entertainment report in just a minute. It is Pledge Drive, and we do need you to give us a call. 972-647-1893. Again, one of the things the station suggested is that we talk about the value that we add to the community, the types of things that we do that's unique on our show. I guarantee you didn't hear that kind of sports analysis from anybody else.
I guarantee that. Yeah,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
So true.
And here's something else you may not hear from on another station, and this is
to call 972-647-1893.
Yeah, that too. After HGTV announced that it would cancel an upcoming new show called Flip It Forward, starring the twins, devout Christian brothers, David and Jason Benham, who flip and remodel houses for people.
Are they related to Flip Benham?
Yes,
they are.
His sons.
They're his sons.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And we'll talk about him in just a minute.
They canceled the show after some reports came out that these guys have a history of preaching against homosexuality, divorce, and leading protests outside of abortion clinics. The twins have now responded and said that not only did HGTV know about that before they hired them.
HG, I think.
HGTV, I'm sorry. Before they proceeded with filming of the show, they are okay with the station's decision to fire them. Instead, they're okay with it. And if
because they have another deal coming
up. They have another deal coming up. If our faith cost us a television show, then so be it.
They said they blamed the radical agenda.
I'll tell you a radical agenda.
Okay. They have an agenda.
Flip Benham's organization was called Save America something, and it was an anti-abortion group that started here in Dallas. And I don't know if that was before your time, Patty, but Flip Benham at any AIDS demonstration
he spoke against the non-discrimination ordinance in 2002.
Oh, okay. He was still here then. He came
to
he was not here then, but he did come specifically. I remember having him in my face outside City Hall for I forgot what it was. The only thing I remember about that demonstration was Flip Benham in my face, and the police had to get him out of my face. And it wasn't like pushing us apart. It was that he approached me and was just screaming at me. Flip Benham's the one behind No Homo Cops. No Homo Cops were what that was when we were trying to get the police department to change its policies so that they could hire gay and lesbian police officers.
When Micah England sued.
Micah England sued. The city lost. And still it went to the city council, and these disgusting people showed up at City Hall with these big buttons that said "No Homo Cops." But he was behind that. He is disgusting. I don't blame David and Jason Benham, because I don't blame people who had such a horrible upbringing.
But they're adults.
They're
very
adults,
much and they're responsible for their own actions.
Oh, yeah, they are. Of course they're responsible.
They're not 8-year-olds.
No. But when I heard this whole controversy, it's like, where did that come from? I know exactly where it came from. When you're indoctrinated with such hatred, I understand it. I understand where they got it from.
Yeah.
So
well, good for HGTV, but I don't know. They also bring out a good point and said that they knew about it beforehand. It wasn't until the public got
probably
word of.
It's just like that whole thing with the Duck
Dynasty.
Do you think that was real? No.
Yeah, it's like they knew about that before.
Of course they did.
So, and last, singer and American Idol runner-up winner Clay Aiken appears to have won his bid for a run at the Congress as the Democratic nominee by less than 400 votes. Clay barely cleared the 40% threshold needed to claim victory, while the North Carolina former State Commerce Secretary Keith Crisco came up with 39.54%. So they're probably going to have so neither one are saying that they lost, neither one are claiming victory.
So there might be a runoff.
There's going to be a runoff, and if so, it'll be on July 15th.
Okay.
So good for him.
Wow.
Yeah, first time running. Mm-hmm. I guess the name recognition really pushed him.
Oh, sure. I'm sure in his home state he's more popular than his.
And Ruben Studdard endorsed him with a commercial in North Carolina.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I thought that was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's running as a Democrat, you're going to hear all the Hollywood whatever. And I don't know why we put up with that, because all we have to say is, excuse me, Ronald Reagan.
Exactly.
Why was that
Gary
legitimate?
Sinise. I mean, pick somebody. There are lots of them out there.
Fred Thompson.
Angie Harmon.
Gopher on the Love Boat. He was in Congress 4 terms, something like that.
Sonny Bono.
Yeah. So why do we put up with that?
Right.
Good for Clay Aiken. He was young, had a little singing career, and decided, no, I'm going to serve my country, and good for him.
Yeah.
And I'm not criticizing those Republicans who served. I'm saying, why do we put up with, the garbage from Fox and other places like that are going to criticize just because they're entertainers and they're Democrats?
Right.
Ronald Reagan. It's a perfectly good career to start your career to go into Congress or higher office. It is Pledge Drive, and we do need your phone calls. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
Give us a call and pledge $30. It's our 30th year on the air. Coming up in the summer, it'll be our 31st. But $30 is a great pledge. I'm sure you can get a T-shirt or something at that level. But it'll be a great way to say Happy Mother's Day and celebrate our 30 years on the air. 972-647-1893. And you can pledge a lot of different ways. You can pledge with a credit card. You can pledge with a check. You can get a draft coming off your bank account, which is really easy to do. $10 a month, $20 a month.
The drafts coming off of the bank accounts are one of those things that help in 2 ways. First of all, it helps because it's a nice pledge. But the other reason that it helps is it's a little bit every month, and it's something that we can rely on here at the station. We pay our rent every month. We don't pay it quarterly at Pledge Drive.
Right.
So a bank draft is a great way to help us. Call now. Tell us you'd like to start a bank draft. You can do it with your checking or savings account, and an automatic monthly draft will come from your account. You select the amount to come from your account every month, and And all we really need is your name and phone number, and somebody from the office will get back to you during the week to set it up for you.
And I think one of the fantastic things for a $50 pledge is the new KNON Blue Bonnet T-shirt. I have one of the older ones that I just love. Love that shirt.
Pretty cool looking.
And it's pretty fun. And I've given them as gifts, and the people I've given them to just love them. Excuse me. So, give us a shout. That's one of those things you can get for a $50 pledge. 972-647-1893.
And that's a good idea, Patty. If you haven't purchased or made a donation and gotten a KNON T-shirt or baseball cap or whatever, and time enough for Mother's Day because it's today, you still got time to call, get a T-shirt or something, and give it for Father's Day that's coming up. Use it as a gift.
It's a great way to.
Oh yeah, and we have various things. Of course, we always. And I forgot to mention the apron.
The KNON barbecue apron.
Yes.
Summer's coming. It's almost here. For a $40 pledge, you get a fantastic KNON apron. It's heavy canvas. It's black with the white KNON logo across the chest. It's fantastic. I love the aprons. I love to give them away.
And get prepared for those cookouts coming up.
And as Jennifer, who I used to do the poker show with, she used to say, and if it gets dirty on one side, it's nice and heavy, you just turn it over. And I said, but then you get the dirty side against your clothes. You could just wash it. And she said, oh, yeah, I guess you could do that.
Novel idea.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. One of the other things, and we've sold some of these, and they're becoming more popular the longer we've had this, is the KNON Elite Music Sponsorship. You get a pair of tickets to every KNON benefit for the year. KNON has 40 to 50 shows every year, and most of those events have food. So you get 2 tickets, you get dinner or lunch.
Food, music, dancing.
Some things like the Latin Festival and the Jazz Fest goes on for the whole weekend. So it's more than just one little lunch. It's lunch, dinner, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and you get this for a $500 pledge, and that's 2 tickets.
And you and your guests just sit on the list.
Right.
You're automatically on the list. You never have to call and get put on the list. You're on the list automatically.
And we have about 40 to 50 different shows a year. If you go to 10 of them, it pays for itself.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But less than 10 of them, because 10 divide that by 10 is $50 for 2 tickets plus dinner for 2. That's going to be more than $50. So 972-647-1893. Give us a call, and if you can afford to be a KNON Elite Music sponsor and you tend to go to our events, that's a great way to do it. You'll get notifications about them, although you listen to KNON anyway, so you'll hear about them on KNON. The other thing is the music wall here in the studio. For a $1,000 pledge, your name will go up on our wall here in the studio, stays up there as long as the studio is here. 972-647-1893. Give us a call. We'll be back with more Lambda Weekly right after this.
You're listening to KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
KNON depends on listener support, and now is the time for you to help keep this show on the air. If you like what you are hearing and want to show appreciation for your community radio station, then pick up the phone and call to make a pledge. Call 972-647-1893 or go online to knon.org. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Without the support of our listeners, there won't be any community radio on the air in North Texas. So take a few minutes to make a pledge. Call 972-647-1893 or go online to knon.org. KNON thanks you for your support.
I'm Michael from UNT, and I listen to Lambda Weekly on KNON 89.3 FM.
And you're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 KNON FM. It is Pledge Drive, and on today's Pledge Drive show, you heard me talk about sports intelligently. And from everybody here in the studio, they're looking at me because I'm spouting sports and saying it right.
And no script.
And well, actually, I have my computer here. So I did have some cheat notes. I did have some notes, but I knew what I was talking about. So 972-647-1893, 972-647-1893. That's the number to call to pledge to KNON. KNON has supported the LGBT community for 30 years, and you know, I'm hard-pressed to think of another business, and KNON's a business, it's a nonprofit, but it's a business, that has supported the gay community for 30 years. Can you think of one? Not Exxon.
Yep.
Not Walmart.
Yeah, not Walmart. You know, a lot of companies are coming around. But why are they coming around? They're coming around because the first place they heard it in Dallas was here on KNON. We were here before the Dallas Voice. We were here before anybody else was really talking about these things. So give us a call, 972-647-1893. Support the people who have always supported the gay and lesbian community. And you know, that's not just the gay and lesbian community, all the different minority communities and different ethnic communities. And there's so many different things KNON has supported over the years.
The people and their voices.
Yep.
That's why it's best.
We really are the melting pot of radio.
We are. Absolutely.
So, and I'm proud of that. And other people that I speak to who listen to the show, they like that also. So.
And we're the mother of all LGBT radio
and
shows.
Patty is the mother of KNON, of Lambda Weekly.
She is.
She is the mother of
Because I can't be a mother, though I have gotten several Happy Mother's Day texts today.
Well, Happy Mother's Day, Lerone. 972-647-1893. Happy Mother's Day. If you'd like us to make an announcement, thank you, or a Happy Mother's Day announcement to your mother, we'd love to do that for any size pledge. 972-647-1893.
What you just said, for any amount of pledge, and to go further with that, we'll take any amount of money. We know we recommend $30, $25, or $50 to get a premium, but we'll take any amount of money.
Sure, a T-shirt's $40.
Yes.
You know, and we have other. You know, we've been talking about Elite Music sponsor $500. If you can afford that, and we know that there are people who listen here who can afford it and do take advantage of those things. I think that's a great bargain.
So whatever you can afford, we will be happy with. 972-647-1893.
You know, here's one thing that is interesting, and this does apply to our show, too. It says, music is like food. Everybody has different tastes. Don't get your favorite selection pulled off the menu. Pick up the phone and use like a fork to fill our musical palette, from Erykah Badu to Stevie Ray Vaughan to Pantera to Reverend Horton Heat to Nora Jones. Famous local artists are heard on KNON first. And on this show, Lisa Loeb, this was the first place that she was on our show.
Right.
Now I'm blank. I know we've had several.
Chastity Bono. When
Chaz Bono was on.
Dixie Chicks.
Dixie Chicks. When they were just this little band, you know, for the 30th anniversary of Dallas Voice, we've been looking up old ads. Do you know where they used to play regularly?
Bronco Bowl.
Yeah, they played there, but they used to play at John L's. Do you remember John L's? It was a bar on a gay bar on Wycliffe, and Sue Ellen's. And we found good old Sue Ellen's ads, and they had this little band called the Dixie Chicks performing there. So they came on our show. Number of groups did that because we're the place that plays live and local. And
not just that. Week after week, if you're a listener to this show on a regular basis, and if you're not, then you'll get to hear, you know, organizations, nonprofit organizations, efforts and fundraisers and other things going on in the LGBT community in North Texas. Elected officials come on our show on a regular basis. So if you've been involved in one of those organizations where we featured you for a full hour on KNON, on Lambda Weekly, please return the consideration with a modest pledge to Lambda Weekly at 972-647-1893. We need your support. We've supported you. Support us today on Mother's Day.
And, you know, last week our guest was our quarterly Candy Markham. And she asked a really good, important question. She asked David and I why we did the show. You know, I've been doing it for 14 years now. How long have you been doing it, David?
Since 1990.
And, you know,
14.
and
14
Patty
years.
14 also. So, again, we can't say it enough. We are not paid DJs. We do this out of the goodness of our heart. I do it because, well, it's fun, and I feel proud that I'm actually helping get information out about our community to the local community. And so there's the value in that. And so I thought I would throw it over to you, Patty.
Well, I was just going to say, with the three of us, and then Doc, who's been with us 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, and then Josh, who's been with us a year, that's a total of, well, you know, we keep bringing in new people.
And we don't see Alex every week, Alex in Selka.
Oh, that's
right. But he's in San Antonio, and
he's still working.
Yep,
but that's 57 years worth of experience here on the show.
It is. So Patty, why do you continue to do it, even though we're not paid?
Well, it is like almost every weekend, except for that stint where we had Wednesday mornings. It was about a year or a year and a half of that.
That was a hard year for me.
But
you know what?
Tough.
But I kept doing it. I tried, and David worked with me. I
weathered through.
I weathered through it because I still had to go to work.
But I think it's because it's a obviously I enjoy talking about our news and our advances and equality. And this is obviously a great place to do that. But I've really enjoyed meeting the people that we have on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Meeting our guests. And then when you get those emails or those calls or those little notes in the mail that say that you were providing access to news that they would never get without you being on the air. I think that's really a great impetus. We don't get it less and less now because it's the internet,
right?
You know, but when you hear the stories of people who have really been impacted by the show because it really was their link to life in the LGBT community, that's really amazing. So
it is.
It's a fun show.
Yeah. It is a lot, you know, and that's the thing. We enjoy doing it too. It's not like we're here because what a chore. We have to be here. I love coming on every Sunday.
Yep.
I've scheduled vacations around Sunday so that I could be here on Sunday and then I'd leave from here to go to the airport for that kind of thing.
And depending when we were like on 1 o'clock on Sundays, and when we were for quite a long time. It was great to be able to do the Pride Parade.
Right.
Because you could actually get down and talk to people.
Yeah. On Saturdays.
On Sundays.
Sundays. Pride Parade's on, that's right, it was on Sunday, right. But it was timed perfectly with us.
It was so perfect, yeah, because everybody was there and ready to go.
One, we're not listing all of the different items that we have as pledge premiums. I do want to mention one. KNON has its own custom Texas Ranger style baseball jersey. It's now in white. It's a full button baseball jersey with blue and red KNON Dallas, Texas in the front of the jersey and 89.3 FM in blue and red on the back of the jersey. Sizes medium through triple extra large. It goes for a $125 pledge per jersey. Everybody who has one of those has said, I love that shirt. Yep. 972-647-1893.
We also have for like a $40 level. Guess what all the things you can get for your $40 pledge. This is a lot of stuff. You can choose from a KNON lunch koozie 6-pack cooler, a KNON ball cap, a KNON apron, a KNON army hat, a KNON folding headphones, or a KNON generic VOP t-shirt in a black and white design.
Lots of stuff. Go online, knon.org, click the pledge button, and it's all there, or just give us a call. Doc likes nothing better than to list absolutely everything that we have as a pledge premium, don't you, Doc? He does, and he has it memorized. 972-647-1893. Okay, so we were talking marriage before, and, over the years, it's always been, that argument didn't work. What's their next one going to be? So they'd come up with something else stupid. They'd come up with something else stupid. Well, stupid has gotten to be just idiotic. The governor of Kentucky, yes, this is somebody that a lot of people voted for because he got elected to office. His argument that he's taking to court is that it's going to affect Kentucky's birth rate. That's all you have to do, ban gay marriage, and the birth rate goes down. Okay, in Indiana there was a ruling, and the ruling was for a couple, a lesbian couple. One of the women has stage 4 ovarian cancer. The woman's life expectancy, the average life expectancy for somebody with stage 4 ovarian cancer, she really only has a few more weeks. Yeah. So the judge ruled, because they have young children, the judge ruled that yes, the state of Indiana should recognize this marriage so that, for Social Security reasons, the federal government actually has already ruled, yes, they're going to, not give them a problem. But sometimes it's just easier in your state, like with a death certificate, to state who the spouse is.
Right.
So please just put on the death certificate for this woman. Here's the argument.
The argument to not do that?
To not do it. The Indiana Attorney General's office said in court documents that recognition of the couple's marriage now could raise false hopes for others because courts might eventually uphold the state's marriage ban. Now, first of all...
I have to laugh, sorry.
If it wasn't so sad...
I know.
We'd all be
really
right. That's what I'm saying. This one is just idiotic. They are just grasping at anything and everything. It doesn't matter how hateful. Okay, Lerone, you're married.
Mm-hmm.
Your marriage is not recognized in Texas. And don't you feel that if your marriage can't be recognized, that this couple who has young children and one of the partners is going to die within the next few weeks, chances are, she shouldn't have her marriage recognized, should she? Because you can't get yours, because the gay community is that selfish, aren't we?
Of course. I'm that...
Do you know a gay person anywhere who would want to deny this couple's recognition of this couple's marriage because their marriage isn't going to be recognized? This is a very specific case.
Yep.
Right.
And it's happened in other states. It's like we're gonna recognize these 4 marriages or these 2 marriages, whatever the plaintiffs were, and then the rest of it's on hold until there's further appeals and rulings.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think that's just cruel and unusual.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Is what it is.
That's probably the best word to describe this.
I mean, really, like you said before the show, where's the compassion?
Can you imagine if your partner was dying and you're having to go to court just so that you can get a particular piece of paper that's going to make things easier for your kids? Can you imagine having to do that?
Dealing with anybody's death and the things you have to do when that person passes, whether it's a parent, sibling, whatever, it's emotionally wrecking. Having to deal with this, towards the end of someone's life, I mean, that just makes it 10 times worse.
And good for this couple. This woman who's dealing with, she must be in such pain, and yet she's going to court because she's concerned that her kids are taken care of.
These are the times she should be at home near her partner's side, saying their goodbyes.
What a hero she is.
Yeah.
I mean, this one we're laughing on the one hand because...
It's so ludicrous. It really is.
And on the other hand, this one really upsets me.
It is upsetting.
Okay, so let's go from disgusting to stupid.
One thing why that's so stupid is because it really is meant to demean.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Its only purpose is meant to demean and belittle this couple and to say, you're not equal. You're not equal to us. You're less than.
Mm-hmm. Your kids should not get Social Security from their mother's death because their parents were in a same-sex marriage. That's
not
really
recognized in that state.
Yeah, that's really what this Attorney General is saying in his argument. Okay, let's go to from disgusting and despicable to just stupid. In Oregon,
they lost the whole procreation thing kind of from the get-go. So,
that one is just dumb.
Because they read it on the internet.
Well, if that guy thinks that who's married affects the birth rate, really?
It's a huge stretch.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, because we know that everybody who isn't married is using condoms.
Exactly.
Or is on the pill. Gay marriage lawsuit in Oregon. NOM wants to defend the marriage law in Oregon. Now, Oregon already recognizes out-of-state marriages. It's expected to go before the Ninth Circuit, which is the most liberal circuit court, and the Attorney General, Ellen Rosenblum, has already said she's not going to defend this law. They've already had rulings out of this court about the Hawaii case. They've had rulings out of this court about the Prop 8 case. We know where this court it stands. Yes?
Well, absolutely. And if the court does what the Supreme Court did, they probably won't even hear the case, and that is, does Nam even have standing?
Oh, well, of course. Of course not. Of course,
because that's ultimately how the Supreme Court ruled on Prop 8.
Right. But we know how the appeals court is going to rule, because the appeals court said that these people did have standing. It was the Supreme Court who said we're not going to hear it because... Anyway, so here's what they're doing. Ellen Rosenblum, forward-thinking, she's thinking, okay, we need to update some paperwork in case the marriage law changes. She's done that. That to Nam is proof that she's irresponsible. Instead of getting, Arkansas, we got sideswiped with that one. It was like... I'm looking at the news this morning. I didn't read the newspaper yesterday, and I'm thinking, so this morning it's like, Arkansas?
Yep.
State 18 is Arkansas? Until Monday. But
right. I know.
State 18 for 2 weeks was Utah.
Right. That's true.
But
and then Oklahoma.
But Oregon, they would vote it in, and they were planning on having an election, but there's no reason to. The rest of the West Coast has marriage equality, including Hawaii. The only place on the Pacific Rim that doesn't is Alaska. It's going to pass. We know it's going to pass. We know that that's one of the next states, and it's going to happen this year. So the fact that Nam wants to defend it,
Yeah.
And they pick
let
Oregon.
them defend.
Oregon is one of the most progressive of progressive states.
Well,
I mean, they have assisted suicide. They've got.
But to use as your argument that the Attorney General is preparing for a likely outcome of a court case, to me that's saying that she's responsible. In Arkansas, they were scrambling yesterday because this came out of the blue. This is not coming out of the blue in Oregon.
I thought Nam had pretty much kind of thrown her hands up.
Well,
because Maggie Gallagher has pretty much said that
they lost.
They lost, yeah,
and that they need to move on.
Yeah.
Speaking of moving on, 972-647-1893. We're out of here in 2 minutes. 97, I think, is the next show here. Oh, we don't know that the next show's here. Well, we'll just keep talking then. 972-647-1893.
And if you haven't seen Stephen Colbert this week, the Colbert Report with Ellen Page, it's worth swinging by and watching it on video. Truly, he's upset that she didn't come out on his show, and he wants a do-over. It's a really great interview.
Okay.
So 972-647-1893.
Yeah, and we'll be here a little bit after the show. If you were hanging on our every pledge bag, we understand because they were fascinating. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. I figured out one time how many pledge drive shows I've done with this station, with all the other shows that I've stopped by to help. It's something like 300 different shows that I've done doing pledge. And you wouldn't believe how many you've done as well. But 972-647-1893. Give us a call. I'll be here in the studio a few minutes after the show. If you'd like to call us then, you can go online, knon.org, and we'll be back next week with more.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.